I'm being joined on the program by rights activist and constitutional lawyer, Mr. Clement Nwankwo, joins us from Abuja. Thank you, Mr. Nwankwo, for your time tonight. How do you describe what happened today when those protesters were dispersed by security operatives?
Thank you, Seun. Certainly, the Nigerian constitution is very clear. It gives the right to freedom of association, free assembly. It gives the right to freedom of expression. And when people come together to peacefully protest in this country, it is a constitutional right. I think that when they are accosted by security agents in a brutal, suppressive manner, it tells a lot about the quality of our democracy. People have the right to protest. People have the right to say that the government needs to do things differently. People have the right to say that the government is not doing well. And I think that a government that is responsive to the constitutional expression of thought, of speech by Nigerians, a government conscious of that right responds, listens, and responds to what people are saying. I think that sending out security services to brutally put down protest tells a lot about the quality of our democracy, and what it tells is not very complimentary. It is indeed sad.
The Nigerian state takes to court a leader of Revolution Now protest, and we see the situation now again when those supporters or followers of this same Revolution Now take to the street. What do you think could be the implication in the eye of the law when that name and that idea or that agenda is already being challenged in court?
Well, what I see is of Nigerians protesting. What I see is of Nigerians peacefully aggregating and saying what is going on in terms of the way they are being governed needs to change. I don't think that any government that wants to listen to what Nigerians give back to it as feedback for the way that it governs. I do not think that a government anxious to listen to people would be repressive of protests. So my sense of it is, I don't know what words are used, but words are not exclusive to a particular individual. If a group says that they want change, and you can interpret Revolution Now in whatever context you choose, but when people say that they want the way a particular course of action is going on in government, about the way the country is being governed, about good governance, about transparency, about accountability, when individuals, when groups say it, and this has been said on a daily basis by different people, and when people aggregate, when people congregate and say, we want things done differently, then I think the best way of defeating such an agitation is really to govern in a way that responds to what Nigerians are asking for. And when you look around the country today, there is increasing evidence of failure of government. When you look across Nigeria today, there is increasing evidence of violations of human rights. And we've seen the National Human Rights Commission, which is a respected agency with respect to human rights protection in this country. We have seen the National Human Rights Commission issuing reports about the deteriorating condition of human rights in the country. We have seen several actions of government that indicate repression. And I do not think that you can suppress a people by brutalizing them on the streets. What you actually do when you do that is provoke more anger, provoke more alienation of government. And I think that a government that is elected by the people in a democracy should be more concerned about winning the minds and hearts of its citizens to its side. So I think we've seen all of this in the past. A lot of us who saw the brutality of military regimes, and of course the leadership of this particular government was part of that brutality from the past. But a lot of us who have seen military brutality under military regimes are a bit worried when you begin to compare what is going on today with what is going on from the military era. We certainly cannot go back to a military dictatorship era. There are things that have to be done very differently, and that includes respecting the rights of people to peacefully protest. And I have not seen any evidence that those who were protesting were protesting violently. So I think that the course of action that the government needs to do is to provide a platform for free expression, listen to citizens, and if there are things that needs to be done better so that citizens will express better response and respect for government, then the government needs to listen and do such.
So, Mr. Nwanko, you've used words, you are a civil rights activist, or another leg of Nigeria, of democracy across the world. That is the environment where civil rights can operate. So you've used words like repression. Are you implying that this government is intolerant and repressive? Because you need to be clear about this government, because the president has said that he's a converted Democrat. He's a Democrat. He's converted.
Well, certainly, I don't know about converted Democrat. I know that we have elected a president. I know that we have a constitutional rule. I know that this president is bound to operate within the limits of constitutional requirements. And I think that when people exercise the rights that are entrenched in the Constitution, the government, the security agencies, and indeed everyone has a responsibility to respect the rights of people to freely express themselves. I think that the democracy is governed by the people for the people, and by government for the people, by the people, and for the people. So if you are a government and you are, yes, please.
So where do we go from here to finalize this conversation? What you have described tonight, where do we go as a people under this government?
I think this government needs to know that people are angry. I think this government needs to know that the environment we're in today means that people are getting a sense that government is not listening to them. When you look all around the world, people are frustrated, are depressed by the effects and impact of COVID-19. What you are seeing here today in Nigeria is that Nigerians who are victims of COVID-19 are being treated by government in a way that even makes them look like they are not the victims. When you look around the world, you see that governments are taking steps, providing economic remedial measures to support people. What we are seeing in Nigeria is that virtually every agency of government is increasing levies, duties, taxations. Monies people have are being taken by actions of government agencies who are basically nonchalant about the fact that people are losing their jobs, people are losing their source of income. This government must respect the rights of Nigerians to be able to express themselves, to be able to find a means, since the government is really not supporting them, but people should be able to provide for themselves in the absence of government. But government needs to respond to people's demands, and I don't think they're doing so.
Mr. Clement Nwanko, a civil rights activist and a lawyer, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.